Hey guys, my name is Jeho and I'm an English learner. Today in this video, I'm going to share with you what I did to become fluent in English and what you can do to become fluent completely on your own. So without any further ado, let's get started. If you can understand native speaker when they speak to you, but every time you're trying to speak, you feel like you don't find the correct words that you think you need to use, this video is for you. Or maybe your problem is every time you try to speak, you feel like people are watching you and waiting for you to make a mistake. But let me tell you that it's not always the case. When you're alone, you speak English perfectly with an American accent. But in front of people, you look like a goat trying to speak Chinese. I'm just kidding. This video is for you because I'm gonna share with you all the things that you have to do to become fluent in English and which one you have to avoid. But before we get started, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends and give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Let's get into it. The first thing that you have to do to become fluent in English, you need to try to imitate native speaker, how they speak. It's really good for you as an English learner to train your ear to hear different accents and try to imitate them. You can do this by listening to very short extracts from audio or videos and then try to copy them. You need to try to copy the expressions of the voice too. If the speaker is angry, sad, or happy, you don't have to do this perfectly, but you have to listen carefully and try to hear how the different accent sounds can really help you to train your ear to hear more accurately. Okay guys, while you're doing this, please you need to stop translating everything from your language to English. Stop translation. The second thing that you have to do to become fluent faster in English, you need to record and listen to yourself. Good language learners are self-critical. They always try to evaluate their own level of improvement. Remember that you can do this by regularly recording yourself and listening back to your recordings. There are lots of ways that you can do this. First, you can use the webcam on your computer, or maybe you can use the camera on your phone. You can record yourself saying a short text or talking about a topic. Once you've made your recording, you need to watch it immediately and think about how you can improve it. Okay, now you need to record it again and watch and then try to compare it to your first recording to see if it's getting better. Now what I want you to do is to save the best of the two videos that you've recorded and then watch them again in a week or a month later. So now you need to record yourself again to see if you can do it better and save all your recordings. And after a few months, I guarantee you that you will be able to see good improvements. Now, another thing that you have to avoid is don't be afraid of making mistakes. The fear of making mistakes can hinder your progress. Remember that mistakes is a natural part of learning, and that is absolutely true. When learning a language, the best learners takes risk with the language. They try to express themselves even when they don't know the correct words or the correct grammar rules that they have to use. Because the native speaker don't really worry about how you speak, about your mistakes. They so focused on trying to understand what you're trying to say and then try to help you to express yourself more accurately. But if you don't speak, if you don't talk, then they can help you to improve. So you need to start to speak and stop worrying about your mistakes. Another thing that you have to avoid if you want to become fluent faster, you have to avoid negative self-talk. Thinking that you're not good enough or English is too difficult can be demotivating. You need to stay positive and remind yourself of your progress. Another thing that you have to avoid if you want to become fluent faster in English, you need to stop focusing on grammar rules. Grammar is important. I'm not saying that grammar is bad. No, this is not what I'm saying. Grammar is important, but focusing too much on grammar rules can make your English learning tedious. So you have to avoid focusing too much on grammar rules. Okay guys, another thing that you can do to become fluent faster in English is to use the language for something that you enjoy. You will be able to learn more quickly if you actually use the language as you learn it. There are lots of ways that you can do this, but the best one is to use the language for something that you enjoy. Whether your hobby is travel, sport, art, music, fashion, even reading newspaper, try to do it in English. You need to find an online magazine or website where you can find out more about your hobby or interest and choose a specific time each week when you can combine developing your interest with improving your English. Remember, learning any language doesn't just happen overnight. You need to make time for it, and you need to plan how and when you fit it into your life. So it's not really necessary to have a bunch of time to do it. You can just try to spend 15 to 20 minutes each day just to review your vocabulary and do some exercises. Another thing that you have to avoid if you want to learn faster, you need to avoid learning in isolation. Remember, interaction is key to learn a new language. Engage in conversation with others, whether it's classmates, language partners, or online communities. Okay guys, another thing that you have to avoid is you need to avoid sticking to one resources. Remember, relying on a single textbook or app can limit your exposure. You need to use a variety of resources to get a well-rounded understanding. Another thing that you can do to get a well-rounded understanding, you need to listen to music and podcasts in English. Listening to English songs and podcasts can make your English enjoyable. Try to understand the lyrics or the content of the podcast and look up any unfamiliar words. Remember, one of the easiest and enjoyable way to improve your listening skills is by listening to songs in the language that you're learning. You can find lots of music videos here on YouTube, or you can use services such as Spotify on your computer or on your phone. What is really stopping an English learner from fluency is the lack of consistent practice. Fluency requires regular practice. So many English learners do not practice listening, speaking, writing, and reading consistently. So you have to do this if you want to become fluent faster. Remember, without sufficient exposure to native speakers, you're going to miss out the nuances of the language, including idioms, slang, cultural context. If you really want to become fluent in English, you need to stay consistent, stay positive, and learn in context. You need to have a plan. You need to plan your learning. If you're walking down the street and you don't even know where you're going, you're already lost because you don't know where you're going. So you need to have an end in mind, where you're going, where you want to be. I was so happy to bring this video to you guys, so please don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends and give me a thumbs up. See you next time. Bye.